Do you want to get famous? Do you want the spotlight, the attention, the riches, the fame, to go down in history among all the great leaders of the past? To have people perhaps looking up to you for your great talent, your great creativity, for all the things that you do, and maybe you feel like you aren't like one of those celebrities. You aren't someone who's changing the culture and somebody who's creating a culture and somebody who is valued by many other people. Well, what does it mean to follow a celebrity? What does it mean to be a celebrity? This is a big topic, and it is one that many people grapple with when it comes to science, when it comes to religion, when it comes to politics. All the fields of our life, there are people that we look up to, that we say are celebrities. And some celebrities we may not want to call celebrities, or maybe they were celebrities at one point and they're no longer a celebrity. Well, take a look at Athene, who was one of the biggest YouTubers when YouTube first came out. He started with video games and satirical and comical videos, and then shifted toward his video called The Theory of Everything, which got over 5 million views, talking about science and spirituality and intersecting a bunch of sort of theoretical ideas. And people started to criticize him and call him a cult leader, and he was referred to as among the first individuals to get canceled on the internet.
By far, I was the most intelligent person on the planet. And I remember when I said it on the stream, people were laughing at me. By far, by the way. More intelligent than Einstein, than anyone on the planet. You might say like, but man, you're crazy. Like, well, I started what would the most intelligent person do on the planet? What would he do? Think about it. Well, he would start a psychological revolution and make everybody super intelligent, right? Well, that's exactly what I did. Like all the poverty will instantly get solved. I think poverty will be fixed in the next 5 years, by the way. Yeah. All of it. You guys don't realize this is not just a psychological revolution. This is literally a revolution that will change human as a species will change. We will take care of everyone. As life, no, you did not go through the same way, through another way. Don't lie to yourself. You didn't start a psychological revolution. Actually, you didn't do shit. And that's very important. I'm very confrontational about these things. Whenever someone comes and say like, Athene, I'm very similar. No, you're not. You're not similar at all. I'm really sorry. If you were similar to me, you'd be having an impact in the world. It's actually an insult. You are talking right now to the person the entire planet is going to value the most in the next 5 to 10 years in the entire history of human mankind. Spend this time to ask good questions that can help you, because you're really screwing yourself over. Do you really want this as a memory? I was in the chat lolling at him when you look back, and he told me I was gonna look back. He told me that, but I was so fucking delusional. Now everybody values this guy. He's the biggest guy on the planet. I could have, you're just gonna feel bad in the future. And also I will start getting too much influence, too much power. You guys don't realize it. Like you heard the guy earlier that clicked in the Skype call. This is literally going to change the world. Since I considered myself the most intelligent person on the planet for a very long time, I was like, aliens will be more like me. Advanced artificial intelligence will be more like me than anyone else, because everybody else is just caught up in their own, primitive part of the brain. It's all a show and a fugazi. We promote it that way. Nobody's telling you this is fucking real. Okay, it's a show. Okay, let's say you get scammed. Even if you do get scammed, okay, whatever. You got scammed, okay. I fucking told you guys. It's all a fucking scam. So it's not even an argument. If I go to my viewers, right, and I say, get fucking Purpose and Doobie, you're gonna get scammed, and you get on it, then nobody else, you can't go afterwards to people and say like, I got scammed. No, it's part of the fucking show, man.
The extent to which we are able to squeeze these poor suckers, you wouldn't believe it, and you're having trouble believing it right now. You're having trouble grasping it right now. But I would just say stick around in the chat for a few days and you will start to see what's really going on. But it takes a while for you to understand that this is exactly what's going on. We really built up this community. We took many years of slowly building up a hardcore base of dumb suckers that happen to have quite some money from rich mummies and daddies or something, and now we're finally cashing in on it.
You know the founder of Scientology, what he said? He said, if you want to make some money, you start a business. But if you want to score big bucks, you start a religion. Now you guys know where I get my inspiration from. Why do you guys think I like to look like Tom Cruise? You think that's coincidence? Then more for the cult. Felix, thank you, man. $15. So if you guys come at me, right, and think you guys are, ahead, and go like, man, Athene, like, make this an fault. Expose me. You know the beauty of the internet? I can say it right now, saying I'm just milking your little gullible fucking mindless, soulless fucking dumb brains. I can say it right now, and people are still throwing me money. I actually made more money the last 5 minutes I make the past days. You see?
So being that his past was comical and often satirical, it's hard to know whether he's being serious when he says you're going to get scammed, and then afterwards he says, oh look, I told you you were going to get scammed, and he makes a joke out of it. And he starts to play into what the chat is saying, and people saying he's part of a cult. He starts to accept it. People are going to follow him no matter what he does because they like perhaps his past content. We have to ask the question, why are people giving their money to somebody else? And are they just doing it for the sake of the joke? Are they doing it for the sake of the entertainment? How far do people go on the internet to defend or attack someone or invest their time, their energy, their money into somebody else that isn't their own friends, family? I mean, there's even been crypto rug pulls from many celebrities and influencers where they convince their whole audience to give them money for certain things which end up to be scams. And then many of these same celebrities go on as if nothing happened, and there's a certain amount of other YouTubers who make their whole living off of exposing other people doing their scams. But then they might just end up doing scams, and so we have to ask the question, is there something here that is worth looking at that has to do with celebrity worship? Just take a look at how people react and interact with celebrities.
Yeah, I've listened to Taylor Swift's music, but I'm not really a fan.
Oh, so you're a hater then? You probably like Katy Perry, you tasteless jerk!
I don't dislike her music.
Oh, hater confirmed! I can't even take you seriously as a human. My favorite YouTuber is in a fight with another YouTuber. This affects my life in so many ways that I can't even think of one.
Now look at this, son. An athlete from my alma mater volunteers his time at a local nonprofit. If you end up being half the man this guy is, I might be proud of you one day. Man, did you hear what that presidential candidate said last night? That was pretty crazy.
Well, it's not as crazy as the other presidential candidate, now is it?
It's still pretty crazy.
You make me sick.
Everyone puts someone up on a pedestal. They look up to them, want to be like them, defend them from detractors. No, that can't be true, man. She just put on a little weight. It's kind of mean to assume stuff like that, right? Yeah.
Maybe you're right. I'm sorry.
Man, look, I didn't start this. It's not me saying this, really, but don't you think that she's pregnant? She does look a little larger compared to last month, right?
I am so sickened by everyone who is continually spreading these false rumors. Haven't you ever heard of privacy? I'm just appalled. Oh man, I love this chair so much. I'm gonna set it right here because nobody would hate this chair.
Oh, this is kind of a weird chair.
Close your eyes, this is gonna hurt real bad. Haters! It's the haters! They plant these stories, it's manipulative, it's a coordinated effort to attack you, right? Right, it's a conspiracy! It appears maybe I made a mistake by putting you up on this pedestal, so I'm gonna maybe just write, you're a human, just like me.
I believe I have a responsibility to my young fans to mold them into the kind of person who I think they should be.
No! Just think for yourself. Don't put human beings on a pedestal. And don't wrap your identity up in a person who is probably not even a good person.
Oh my goodness, super famous person. You are my idol, my hero, my personal Lord and Savior.
I am so thankful for my fans who stand by me.
Oh, I would never abandon you, even if you slaughtered 1,000 people. I know that you would only kill each one of them because it was justified.
Oh, I can tell that you're a very serious fan.
Oh, I am. I'm the biggest.
Well then, can you do me a big favor then?
I will do anything.
Can you pre-order the special edition of my landmark debut album?
Yeah, okay.
Great, and definitely tell your friends that my tour tickets go on sale tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, if everybody does not go out and buy tickets, there will be consequences.
Celebrity worship, I would call a religious culture that has systems of meaning, different kinds of rituals, possibilities for discovering your true self, a whole kind of value system that can be tied up.
That's interesting. Celebrity worship as a form of religion. I've always thought of it as just hijacking the human reward system. Because if we lived in a tribe of people, a small tribe, and there was one great leader, the battle-scarred leader who's seen it all and can give us the information, and he was the one talking, we would listen. That would be a person of great importance, and we all gather around and listen. But when you see Brad Pitt in a movie screen, and his face is 30 feet high, and there's music playing when he talks, and a team of writers have carefully constructed all of his words and this perfect sentence, and it's just like, it's so moving and inspiring, and then we see him in real life, oh my God, it's really you. But meanwhile, he hasn't really done anything other than pretend.
Right.
He's been a great entertainer, but
right.
he's given us some wonderful distractions, but it's not that he's led us through battle.
Right.
It's not that he's figured out how to find the food and the water. This is not what it is. But in our hijacked human reward system, we treat him as though he is the great leader.
Yeah, or even someone like Oprah. I mean, who's more clearly, in that sort of strange middle ground between celebrity and spiritual leader of some kind. So, obviously it's going to vary depending on what celebrity you're talking about. But just in terms of projections, our imagination, where we invest, our energies.
Yeah.
Celebrity's big. But again, I like to talk about other things, as well. That whether we're talking about politics or consumer culture or things around medicine, that there are religious qualities that don't have to do with the Bible or with Muhammad or something.
Right, there's religious qualities in that there's these very rigid ideologies that are treated like religions that you have to follow. And there's also signs that people will hold up that they're complying and they're along with this ideology. One of them that I talk about a lot is people taking photos with masks on Twitter for their profile picture.
Right.
Like, I know what you're doing.
Right. Right.
We all know what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's again messaging and thinking about, what
it's bizarre.
values,
Yeah. It's bizarre when you see these patterns sort of repeated over and over again.
Right. Well, and social media too will be the future of religion and in terms of how it transforms and kind of moves forward. Popular culture is much more of an important kind of teacher about religious ideas and values than, the local preacher.
How so? Because people pay more attention to it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And because they're more swayed by it, because it has more of an impact and resonance.
But it's such a dangerous way to sway things coming from someone who's involved in distributing popular culture, because there's so little thought put into the actual impact of what it is, and so much thought putting into just what pops.
Yeah. Right.
What gets people to pay attention.
Right. Well, and money talks, and money is sacred. What's more, sacred in our society than making some money?
Yeah.
And that's a again, so there too, we can talk about are there religious qualities to capitalism? Well, there have been a number of scholars who've written on that topic and made those connections. So again, the action isn't taking place in the church. It's taking place in, music festivals, Burning Man.
Yeah.
This is where, again, I'm not making I'm not trying to kind of overgeneralize, but I think very much for especially younger people, but baby boomers as well. Where do I get my spiritual juices?
Eminem died at 50. Fuck you! No fucking way!
Oh my God! Put on CP24. Denzel Washington reported dead at 67.
No.
What?
No. Dad. Bon Jovi dead at 60.
Shut your mouth. You're lying. If you're fucking lying, you're not getting anything for Christmas, and I'm gonna throw that rat into the fucking woods.
You're not that thirsty.
Oh my God.
What?
Dave Matthews dead at age 55.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh my God. Did you see John Travolta passed away?
No. Don't say that. No. Don't say that.
It said he passed away.
No. He didn't try. No, he didn't die.
Did he really die? Oh my God, Dad. Tiger Woods dead at 46.
What?
Tiger Woods dead at 46. It's on the news.
The rumor?
No, seriously, it's on the news.
Sure.
Really? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Oh.
Mom, Celine Dion dead in plane crash.
Shit. No.
Dead at 54.
She's 58.
No, says she's 54.
That's not true.
Celine Dion dead in plane crash.
No, can't be true.
It's on global news.
That's
Just kidding.
She's 58, God.
Wow. Listen to this. Kate Winslet dead at 47.
What?
Yeah, overdose.
Wow, that's fucking horrible.
Snoop Dogg died at 51.
Stop it. Stop it. No, don't even fuck around. Don't. You're joking. Don't fuck it off. Don't.
But don't kill the whole one.
Oh my God, Donald Trump dead, 76 years old.
Get out.
What?
Heart attack.
No.
Oh my God. Bon Jovi dead at 60.
Alexa, did Bon Jovi die?
This is the worst.
Jesus was seen. Where? Oh my God. Show me to me,
This one
please.
seemed a little scripted, though.
Send it to me,
No,
Rachel.
no,
It
this
was
one's real.
literally seen in Ohio. Please send it. Oh, now, please. Oh my God. This is crazy. Rachel, which one? Send it to me, baby. Which one? Is it on TikTok?
This is how people don't know anything about
Mommy, I'm
what's taking
kidding.
place. They'll believe anything they're told.
Send it to me on
Anything.
TikTok.
You don't even know whether or not he's gonna show up. You don't know that. You don't know how he's gonna show up. You're going based on TikTok to tell you that Jesus showed up. That's what I gotta believe.
Oh my God.
What happened?
Michael Bublé.
What?
He died?
Car accident. 48 years old. Yeah.
Holy shit.
No, he didn't die.
It's all over everything right now.
He died?
Michael Bublé.
Pause for a minute, man. Pause, bro.
Oh my God.
You know the problem, the biggest problem I would have. How would I wonder what would that make me think or feel to see my wife acting like that over a celebrity?
Rob Lowe dead at 58.
What?
Holy shit. Dave Matthews dead at 55. Shut the fuck up!
Sandra Bullock dead at age 58?
Are you lying? Are you fucking lying?
Paul McCartney dead at 80. Paul McCartney dead at 80. In a car accident.
No.
Yep.
Are you effing kidding? In a car accident?
In a car accident.
Is he alone?
Oh my God. Donald Trump dead at 72.
That's fake.
No. Was found in the breakers, drugged by hookers.
Oh my God. Dolly Parton dead at 76.
Whoa!
Oh my God, Andy. Tyrese Maxey found dead in a parking lot.
Stanley Tucci dead at 62.
Are you being serious?
What? Oh, Luke Combs dead at age 32.
Died? Are you kidding me? Tom Cruise died at 60!
Watch this. Watch.
Barack Obama dead, 61.
No! Oh my God, damn!
Barack Obama.
What?
Dead.
Grandpa! Look out for
Darius Rucker found dead at 56.
What?
Look at this.
Are you serious?
Yes, look. 60 years old, Mom.
She's so distraught. She's walking away from her family to go be by herself. Why are we showing you? Because for the last 6-7 months, we've been talking about this exact same thing. And we've been telling people that this happened. And we've been called every kind of coon, every kind of clown, every kind of, you don't know what you're talking about, every kind of, we don't do that. We've been told everything under the sun. We have even been told that we're crazy. And then we'll have people come defend the people that we're talking about, even after we show them proof that this is what they're about, because they worship him that much. And then when we tell them they worship him, no, we don't. We just don't believe what you're saying. They're the same people that would be like these people.
Why are we now doing this to people where they get eviscerated, destroyed, cancelled, ruined, and convicted in the court of public opinion before they ever really get a chance to go through proper legal process?
Well, part of it is, we have people that we admire and that we aspire to be, and sometimes for better or worse, they're often celebrities and we love them, but we kind of hate them too because they're so annoying because they're better than us in many ways, and that's why we admire them. And so on the one hand, we elevate them to a status that we probably shouldn't have elevated them to, but on the other hand, we're pretty damn happy when we can fling them to the ground and peck off all their feathers, especially if we can do that at no cost to ourselves. And social media enables that tremendously because you can generate a mob of accusers and they can be anonymous, and you can do that in no time flat, and you can peck the feathers off someone, and you can walk away feeling real good about yourself, and you can be happy that you got to express your resentment and bitterness, and away you go. And of course you sacrifice someone for doing that, but it's not you, and that's just fine. And so we're doing that non-stop.
So as you can see, a lot of people derive a lot of meaning, a lot of value in their own life to celebrities because they tear up, they cry, they can't help but feel so emotionally attached to certain individuals and certain ideas perhaps as well that maybe are also attached to certain individuals or music or movies, actors, whatever it is. And oftentimes we will put this all under the banner of culture, but celebrities is one part of the culture that deals with people that we actively worship, that we actively say, you know, these are the people that are to be deemed as very like special for the red carpet, $1 million contracts, meant to be in every movie, you know, meant to look a certain way and sound perfect and do all these roles that are very particular. Tom Cruise is always in Mission Impossible, right? There's always a James Bond, right? And so it's fun for us to do this, and it's also sometimes fun if we're attacking or lifting certain people up. But there's a point to which it is no longer fun, and we do take things too far, and we are projecting perhaps our own insecurities or our own problems onto others, and it's coming to surface in our world.
Fuck you, and fuck all the white gays who stand you, bitch. Fuck you. You ain't deserve shit.
Lovers
Ho.
sold 2 million copies.
I can't even breathe right now.
We did that.
Fucking hag. That's what you are. Never release music again. Never. I don't want to hear your ass ever again. Thank God I ain't hear your acceptance
These videos are really funny. I'll be the first to admit that I saved a thread of Swifties going ballistic after Taylor lost her Album of the Year nomination at the Grammys. Whole parties of people gathered around a TV, decked out in hundreds if not thousands of dollars in merchandise from a woman they will never know, feeling the same overwhelming pain that you might feel over getting in an argument with your close friend, but instead over a parasocial relationship with a celebrity, over her not getting her 13th special golden trophy. That's pretty funny. The outsider's perspective of it is pretty funny. From my years of essentially growing up running fan pages, it seems to me that there are levels of fandom, and each level looks down on the cases next to them. Number 1, not a fan. Number 2, casual fan. The third level is the stan. The term was ripped from Eminem's 2002 song and music video of the same name. It follows an obsessed man as he writes increasingly disturbed letters to his celebrity idol before eventually losing his mind. The internet and social media has essentially pushed all artists to become something more than their art. When there's more to share, there's more to know, there's more to love, there's more to buy. It is an industry after all. But circling back to the Swiftie videos I played earlier, even stans have a limit, which is why the fourth cast exists. Celebrity worship syndrome is not clinically diagnosable by the DSM-5. It's technically not a syndrome. Regular stans usually don't let their obsession impact their lives negatively, whereas someone genuinely bawling over Taylor Swift losing a Grammy nomination has let their parasocial relationship with her come too close to where they keep their real ones. I wish that this perspective was more understood, because maybe it would have led me to get help earlier than I did. Because I speak from experience as someone who at one point would have definitely been classified as suffering from CWS. Fan culture provided people like me the opportunity to escape. I had put Grimes, Claire, as the other fans and I called her almost personally, in a glass box on a pedestal. She was perfect. My idol. Everything I wanted to be when I grew up. As pathetic as the words feel coming out of my mouth now, she genuinely did feel like a big sister to me. She was someone I looked up to in every aspect, and how I felt about her was desperately how I wanted people to feel about me. If you have BPD like I do, you'll probably nod and sigh when I tell you that she was my favorite person. An actual term I thought I made up years ago to describe the situation, only to get diagnosed a few months back and find out that the favorite person is a real psychological ideological archetype. Here was someone I transferred a lot of energy towards keeping perfect in my mind, only for them to step off the pedestal and be revealed as the real controller of their life, with their own opinions, likes, dislikes, wants, needs. If Grimes wasn't everything I wanted to be, then who did I want to be? She needed to be perfect because I couldn't be. At the time, the internet's biggest and funniest joke happened to be my largest stressor, and I found myself at the worst point of my life. It's honestly still kind of hard to talk about, because I feel really embarrassed even saying anything. I mean, the concept does sound funny, doesn't it? That an uninvolved party could seriously become depressed over a celebrity's relationship. And every time I've ever tried to bring it up to somebody, it's been met with what seems to be giggling through the eyes. Like they were telling me to get a real problem and go outside and touch grass.
The halo effect that we have about celebrities is that, well, if they're famous and I see them on TV, that must mean that they're smart in real life. No.
We see these people and millions of people are paying attention to them, so we assume that there's some quality behind everything that they're saying. There's something special about them. But there's not. It's a biological trick that it's perpetrated through, and this is not by a grand conspiracy, but through media, through being able to put them on a YouTube screen or on a television or a laptop or wherever you're digesting it. And the knowledge that when you're watching a clip where Kanye West is talking about running for president, and you look down at the number and it says, oh my God, 24 million people have watched this. And there's 15,000 thumbs up. What the? And this is the world that we're living in today. So you say, well, he must be, God, Kanye's gonna win. Kanye's gonna win. And this is exactly how Donald Trump got into office. We have a popularity contest to see who becomes president, and we have the very first ever popular person enter a popularity contest. A guy who is a long-time media personality who knew very well how to manipulate that. He was charismatic. He's a bold speaker. He's not afraid to piss people off. He knows he has a bunch of people that like what he has to say, and he can rile them up. And this is what's strange about taking the word of celebrities over the word of professors or of public intellectuals or of people that have actually carefully considered all these things that they're discussing and have a lot of information. And they're basing these conclusions and these statements on a long history of research. And this is not what you're going to get from Kanye. He's a guy who doesn't even read.
Were you perhaps a young tween whose bedroom walls were decked out with posters and memorabilia of your favorite boy band, girl group, pop star, or Hollywood starlet?
Outside the home of new kids John and Jordan Knight, this group of die-hard fans waited and waited all afternoon in hopes of catching a glimpse of the Knight brothers.
Because we traveled the whole way up here from York, Pennsylvania just to see these guys.
They're known all over the world, and you can even get a glimpse of them. That just brightens my day.
Oh, they're so awesome. I love them. They can dance and they can sing. They're gorgeous.
They just have so much style. They have a lot of charisma, great bodies, great faces, just everything.
We as humans are hardwired from birth to be attracted to familiar faces and voices. So what happens when an individual watches constantly the faces and voices of attractive celebrities on a daily basis? Gail says. One theory is that attachment forms. That is much like the attachment that one might have to any familiar person, such as a friend or a family member. Celebrity worshippers might harbor concerns about body image, particularly young adolescents, be more prone to cosmetic surgery, and could display narcissistic features, disassociation, addictive tendencies, stalking behavior, and compulsive buying. I feel like being a stan often comes from a place of escapism. You know, those of us who had rather tumultuous childhoods are so desperate to have this fantastical world where things are better somehow. And it feels that void of emptiness that you may have had due to issues of abandonment or just feelings of inadequacy and longing to belong. And we often see these parasocial relationships with celebrities form because we have trouble fitting into society. And I'm totally one of the kids that was bullied as a child, never fit in, was very insecure. And growing up, I ended up over-identifying with celebrities and almost, obsessing over celebrities. And my way of coping was doing just that. And I grew out of it almost instantly once I was able to form strong bonds and relationships with people in my real life. When you start harming others because you refuse to deal with your own, Yeah, we have a problem. When you're a public figure, is you get public critiques. The Barbs organized to terrorize Kimberly. Using their insidious means, they found and posted Kimberly's phone number and her former address across social media and sent her texts, direct messages, all of the above, threatening to SA her, blow up her niece's school, hurled out, anti-Black, racist epithets, all of the above that you can possibly think of, the worst of humanity. All because Kimberly criticized their favorite celebrity. A clip showed Nicole Kieran, who is the wife of the owner of the Golden State Warriors, talking to Jay-Z. The BBC reported that Nicole received countless insults and death threats on social media, and eventually she had to disable her whole Instagram account to avoid it. We're literally living in a time where people are afraid to speak their minds out of fear that people are psychotically obsessed with celebrities and they're going to harm them. These celebrities yield so much power that they have people living in fear just by literally exercising their right to free speech. Like, that's where we are as a society. Like, that is where we are. And if that's not a cult, I don't know what is. Grown-ass adults are also forcing their kids to attend Kanye West in 2008, who was a 30-year-old woman named Paula Goodspeed. She was found dead in her car outside of Abdul's home in Sherman Oaks, California. The death was ruled as by a drug overdose, and she was found surrounded by prescription pills along with photos and CDs of Paula Abdul. Goodspeed was literally an obsessive fan, and she legally changed her name to Paula. No, it's not a coincidence. Her name was Paula. She had her name legally changed to Paula and drew several pictures of her and sent her flowers and auditioned for American Idol in 2005 in Austin, Texas. Like, this lady was obsessed. Taylor Swift, who has had multiple stalkers break into her multiple homes and townhouses over the years. Just this past summer, Billboard reported that a 35-year-old man was facing trespassing and stalking charges after authorities said he entered 2 New York City residences linked to Taylor Swift. And who could forget the tragic story of the late singer Christina Grimmie, who was by a crazed fan at an autograph signing. While stan culture protects celebrities from criticism, it's ultimately dangerous to them as well. Because these people are mentally unstable. So it only takes one crack in their foundation, one additional crack in their foundation for them to then turn on them. You don't know who they really are. And they may be excellent at interviewing and building up a certain likable image, but at the end of the day, most of what you see in Hollywood is all smoke and mirrors. And I'm deeply invested in abolition of celebrity culture because I find it sickening how our culture spends so much time propping up the worst people because they have the ability to produce good art, simply because you're talented, whether it's an athlete or a politician or a entertainer. Simply because you're talented at a craft does not make you a good person. Hollywood just continues to platform the absolute worst of humanity. And I no longer want to inhabit a society that exerts so much effort into building up these holier-than-thou, infallible images of celebrities who wreak so much havoc and terror to others.
Those who criticize, we're haters, we're broke, we're unimaginative, we're jealous, we're dusty. We don't share their vision. I mean, why would some of us spend hours on Instagram defending the off-color actions of someone who doesn't even care to know we exist? Do you like them that much?
Stop worshiping these people, these humans. Y'all gotta stop, bruh. How about y'all stand for y'all friends? Y'all stand for y'all friends who's opening up businesses, who's a rapper, who's a YouTuber, who's up and coming, who can take you along with them because you're supporting them. Like I said again, there's nothing wrong with supporting these celebrities, but it's like they already made it. You going hard for them and you defending them, but they already got the money, they got the fame already. Check up on your friend that's trying to make it. Your friend trying to do the same thing as Beyonce, but you worshiping Beyonce because she already has a platform and she already making millions and everything, and she's just the greatest singer of all time. Who are you? You ain't nobody. I understand you got an up and coming business, but ain't nobody buying your stuff. I don't see nobody out there in the streets wearing what you got. But you, on the other hand, I see you. That Megatron just came out. Yeah, I watched that about 50 times. Beyonce got a new album coming out. Oh yeah, let me get 2 copies of them. Drake got an OVO shirt that costs $100, and all it is just a little owl in the middle. Let me get that.
So as you can tell, people are pretty crazy, and in many ways they drive themselves crazy. because they fall down this rabbit hole where they become very much attached to other people. And I think the main theme that you see among all these people sharing concerns about this celebrity worship is saying, hey, we got to bring people back to reality. And that the internet and that social media is instigating this drama. It's just feeding all of people's fears, feeding everything that they're currently feeling, right? Of course, the internet could also be used for other things. It's more of like an aggregator, more of a tool. But people have always worshipped others. It's not just because of the internet. It's just that the internet can make it much more extreme, perhaps. So it's ironic that people are having problems, and yet they are talking about others having problems. And whether they attack or they defend someone, there's this attachment. There's literally a term called hate watcher, which is somebody that consumes someone's content because they don't like them, but that means they kind of like them. And in fact, the media can conspirize to make certain people more worship-like, to get more views, to get more traction, to create a certain image, to pull people into a certain identity. But that can only happen if somebody doesn't have a strong sense of self-identity or self-worth. You have to ask yourself, would someone put so much external worth in these figures if they had more worth within themselves? And similarly, what if their worth is in something that's not worldly? What if it's in a religious figure? And don't get me wrong, of course, that can also become cult-like, and you might worship your church or your priest or your pastor, right? Because they can become a celebrity. And some people might see no problem with this. They say, well, what's wrong with, just, playing this game and, going to every concert and buying all the merch and being a part of it? Well, it's because you might be missing someone in your own life, and you might be missing someone like yourself who might even be able to take on that role, who might become an even better singer, better actor, someone who can become inspired and not just consume, but actually produce, right? It's not that we have to just not consume anything at all and not follow anyone, but maybe if we're following them, it's not that we become obedient and just consume everything they do, but maybe that we actually use them as inspiration for what we do in our own personal life. But we also don't want to be unconscious and just do things because other people are doing it. So it's all these nuances we have to navigate, which really rely on being conscious of who and what we're giving our energy and time to. Here's some comments. It says, this is so true, especially K-pop fans. K-pop artists are marketed in such a way that people get obsessed with them. They are marketed as artists through songs, ads, idols, through their personality concepts, which is why there are certain types of names they have for them who think celebrities are their dolls. It emits parasocial relationships. I have no reference to this, but most of these fans are those who have messed up reality. They opt to choose some kind of fantasy to cope for their lack of security from their reality. And there's also a quote here, great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people. So ask yourself, what do you find yourself commonly talking about?
Somebody had to press their way here. They felt unloved, undeserved, not worthy enough.
There we go. Praise, worship, dancing, shouting, clapping, hands lifted, drums, beat. Look at that man right there is getting it. Look at him. And here we go. U.S. soccer team. People cheering, dancing. This is some rave or, one of those festivals. This is the DJ. We got the crowd in a big frenzy. Exact same thing that we're doing in the church. Got some teenagers and some adults going crazy over Rihanna. And this is King of Pop, Michael Jackson. You see people cheering, crying out over him, fainting over him, dancing, jumping up and down. Exact same thing that we saw people doing in the church. And this is the beloved American president, Donald Trump, who has very high approval ratings, by the way. I think he's like, what is he, 90%? No, he's not. I'm joking. This is the Beatles, screaming, cheering. Look at them falling out, crying out all on the ground. What's the difference between that and what this voodoo sister is doing right here? You know, the white girls is on the ground for the Beatles. You know, black women on the ground for voodoo or whoever they worshiping. Who is this? One Direction? The Backstreet Boys or something? I don't know who that is.
Fans required first aid after
Look at them. They falling on the ground too, just like the voodoo lady was for her God. They fall out for their God. The voodoo lady was falling out for her God. Here we go, Alabama. This is the national championship. People dressed up, shouting, cheering, dancing, half-naked women. Everybody wearing their team colors. Look at these folks. They're cheering out to their God too. Hands raised. They have on their outfits. They have their cheers, their chants. Oh, got the costumes at the Comic-Con. And here we go. This is some ancient Mayan ritual, and they're dressed up in costumes just like the people at Comic-Con. You know, what's the difference? They got smoke and outfits just like we have at the Comic-Con. What's the difference? All right? What makes ours more innocent than theirs? Look at this witch lady dressed up. These are some, you know, we got some white folks engaged in voodoo, you know? And it's like, hey man, white people, I better not fall after them black folks doing that voodoo. You know, y'all better stay to something else. But what's the difference between what you see here and what you saw with the lady at Comic-Con? We got some more people worshiping, Philadelphia Eagles fans. Won their first championship, they're out there. Debauchery, revelry, they got fire, smoke.
And over at the Ritz-Carlton, we have video of this. People climbed on top of the awning, and that awning actually collapsed. So
look at them sacrificing. Look at these folks. Look at these folks are going to war. They're fighting over their idols. Look at them. You know, my idol is better than yours. My soccer team is better than yours. I'm gonna kill you over it. That's what folks do, all right? These folks, they don't love their life to the death. They're willing to die for their idol, putting themselves in harm's way. Say something bad about my idol, and don't talk about this dude. You know, you can't talk about him. Yeah, I wish you would go to LA talking about some. Oh, LeBron is better than Kobe. Oh, they kick you out, man. So our modern gods are these public figures that we deify, that we glorify, that we promote, that we follow over and above the Most High, right? Whether it's Trump, you know, Tupac, Biggie, Taylor Swift, you got Kanye, Kim, we got The Rock, you got Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, Kamala Harris, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, all right? You know, you got the first family of hip hop over here, Jay-Z and Beyonce. Down here, you got the NBA All-Stars. These are our modern gods. These are the people that we aspire to be like. These are the people whose image we uphold more than the image of God, right? You got young men that rather be like LeBron James and rather be like Jesus or Yahusha, right? You got young men that would rather rap like Tupac and have verses like Biggie as opposed to have verses like Jesus or have verses like Paul. You have women that would rather have looks and have a fake butt like a Kim Kardashian as opposed to have the virtue and honor of a Ruth or of a Sarai or of a Mary or, you know, one of the ladies from the Bible, Esther. More of our gods. We got Oprah, all right? We got Drake, all right? We got Denzel, my man, Denzel, all right? Yeah, we got the royal family over here, right? These folks are famous just for being born, right? I mean, the prince, he didn't do anything. He was just born into the right household and he's famous, right? But these are the people that we uphold. These are the people that we deify. These are the people that we follow. We listen to their every word. We follow their product, their material. We want to be like them. We want to conform to their image, like Jeff Bezos. You know, we got Cristiano Ronaldo. What's his name? What's this guy's name? Ronaldo. All right, Serena Williams. You know, I even had to put Joel Osteen and T.D. Jakes in here. These are our modern day temples of worship, right? So back in the ancient Roman days, they had their ancient temples of worship, their sex temples, and they had their cathedrals, and what is it? What's that thing called? What's the big thing in Rome? The Colosseum. Look at, these are our modern day temples, our modern day Colosseums. Same exact thing you do at Coachella Fest is the same exact thing that you would do at church. It's no different. If you were to bring an outside person to Coachella Fest and then take them to church, they'd say, hey man, the people are doing the same thing. It's just different music, that's all. You're doing the same thing, right? You got a worship leader that's cheering and chanting and carrying on. You got people dancing, you got people crying, you got people lifting their hands, clapping, making a loud noise. Exact same thing that we do at these buildings are the exact same thing that we do at religious institutions.
See your hands again. They're all clean hands.
Clean hands.
Washing them. Let me hear it if you've had the Pfizer vaccine. Hear it from Moderna. AstraZeneca. Let's hear it from the anti-vaxxers.
Unbelievable.
This right. Hands in the air again. Yeah, you've got clean hands, I can see, it's good. We're spraying you with gel at the end.
So the people who follow these celebrities need to maybe take another look at themselves, especially because maybe they're not giving themselves enough value and attention. But not just that, what if we are giving ourselves too much attention because we are the celebrity? Maybe it's not so great being a celebrity despite the fact that you might want to be one yourself. And you say, well, I don't want to follow another person, I want to be that person. Do you really want to do that? Do you know how they feel? Maybe as above, so below.
How often do you still battle with depression?
Oh, I'm always depressed, all the time. Do you feel that you're happier right now than when you were broke or not really?
Sometimes. I had to stop because I had everything and I was absolutely broken inside.
I so badly want to be Catherine Hudson that I don't even want to look like Katy Perry anymore sometimes.
Okay.
I don't want to be too dark, but I genuinely didn't think I would make it to 17.
You didn't think you'd make it to 17?
No.
When you're in a coffee shop, everyone recognizes you, and it's not really a pleasant interaction typically for the celebrity because all they see is all these people bothering them for a photo. And it's not like these people genuinely want to take the time to get to know them. And we all know when we see a celebrity, we want to run up to them to get the photo. And so if all you're experiencing as a celebrity is like all these people just want to take something from you, which is they just want to take the photo, they just want to sometimes get your number or whatever it might be, it's not a pleasant experience of dealing with human beings.
He said that when he's in Los Angeles, he has about 40 seconds from the moment he arrives somewhere before somebody asks for his autograph.
To your fans, you're more like an object than an actual human being. Basic respect just goes out the door.
One time he had heart palpitations while on stage and had to be rushed to the hospital. As he's being carried in on a gurney, his nurse asks him to autograph his electrocardiogram sheet.
Naturally, they end up just staying at home all day. Most of them, they're sitting on social media, watching videos, watching Netflix, playing video games. For anybody, it doesn't really matter who you are, it's very easy to become not only depressed and have anxiety, but just fundamentally your sense of belonging really sort of disappears. You really feel quite lonely, and you feel as though the only thing that people care about when it comes to you is being able to take a photo with you so that they can brag to their friends.
You have all these people around me just kind of hanging on, wanting stuff from me, knowing that I was living this lifestyle that they also wanted to live.
They have like a friend here or there, that you have some sort, it's usually something related, family or family friend that they've known. But in terms of like friends, where you hang out with your friends, I would say probably 99% of them have zero actual friends that they hang out with regularly. You have to think about it from their perspective. Every single girl that you get with as a male celebrity is a risk. There's a significant risk that they're gonna try to take a picture with you, they're gonna try to use it against you somehow, and they want you ideally to become, their romantic partner. So they'll do whatever, oftentimes they'll do whatever it takes to try to cause problems so that you can become a romantic partner of theirs. From the outside, the houses are just unbelievable, and the line, and they have thousands of models and stuff, and so it's a very dramatic situation. But inside the party, if you think about it, okay, so let's say you have like 2,000 Instagram models and you have like 50 male, top celebrities. It sounds like something crazy is going on, but practically inside the party, what you have is a bunch of Instagram models who are worried to be photographed doing anything, wrong, basically. And you definitely have all those guys who are very worried to be photographed doing anything wrong. And so everyone's just standing around doing nothing, and it's like almost intolerable to me because everyone's just sitting and standing by themselves. These like unbelievably famous people are just standing around, they're not doing anything, maybe they're just slightly mingling, and then I'm like the only person who's just basically really trying to pump up the environment and dancing by myself to get people excited. But I stopped going for a good reason. It's not a fun thing to do. I do think that there are some more wild parties that you hear about when it comes to some of the tech billionaire guys, but in terms of actual celebrities, it's very rare. But yeah, that's as much as I can go into it right now. The only time they tend to leave their house, I would say, is if they have to. So for certain musicians, artists, they have to go on tour, which if you guys have ever really seen their videos of going on tour, it's an incredibly difficult experience where they can barely sleep. They have to go to multiple locations within 24 hours, and it's for many months nonstop. It's absolutely not pleasant at all for anyone who has to go through that.
Despite the controversies, Bieber launched his Purpose World Tour in 2017, 150 concerts across 40 countries in 16 months. But what fans saw, a visibly exhausted pop star on stage. Bieber abruptly cancels the final 14 shows, posting on Instagram, "Me taking this time right now is me saying I want to be sustainable. I want my career to be sustainable, but I also want my mind, heart, and soul to be sustainable."
Most of the time, their income streams are very short-lived, so that maybe they have a movie that does well or they have one album, but it's a very stressful situation because if you've just suddenly made a large sum of income in one short time frame, what happens after that short time frame? Now you're like sitting around and you don't have new income coming in. Oftentimes they become very financially stressed. I've never found a celebrity who's not extremely stressed about their income, even the ones that are multi-billionaires or whatever. Maybe they make the 10 million and then during that time their basic expenses go up. So even if, let's imagine you're not trying to live any sort of lavish lifestyle, very commonly you'll want to take care of your closest family members, like your parents or your siblings or some of your close friends, and then your basic minimum expenditure each month, even if you're not living lavishly at all. And oftentimes you'll find with a lot of celebrities they really don't, but their expenses, and even whether it's on the paying lawyers, paying their accountants, paying their investors, whatever it might be, their basic expenses goes up so much during those times when they do make money that the second they stop making money, they're dramatically in the negative.
Britney Spears paid $17,000 per month just to transport her safely from place to place. Johnny Depp spends $150,000 per month on security for his children, and he pays another $300,000 to pay for his 40+ other staff members. He has multiple $1 million in debts. And then there's the lawsuits.
Even the ones that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars, practically speaking, because they usually didn't grow up like, ultra rich, they're always thinking about, what's their actual income. It's not this glamorous situation. I've never found a celebrity who's not extremely stressed about their income, even the ones that are multi-billionaires or whatever. If you're in their shoes, it's very hard to break from that habit of stressing about your income. And that applies to everyone, not just celebrities. I've never found someone, no matter how much money that they have, that genuinely feels like they're financially comfortable and safe. And that might just be, sort of a Western United States thing. That's another unfortunate reality. They're not living some sort of lifestyle where they're really happy and they feel like they're super rich and famous. It's more like, I'm stressed out about my finances and I can't trust anybody, and so what do? Functionally, the only answer is I'll just sit here at home alone.
There was a time where I was sipping lean, I was popping pills, I was doing Molly, shrooms, everything, and it was just an escape for me.
The reality of situations is you can't, as a world, expect to break people down constantly and not expect them to want some type of escape. I don't have a mom I can call. I don't have a father I can call. I don't have my, my aunt, who was the last thing that I had, is gone.
The gifted singer Amy Winehouse found dead in her London home. She was just 27. And so many people blogging and tweeting throughout the day today about an almost eerie coincidence. So many young music stars lost Holocaust and so many lost.
The actor Heath Ledger was found dead today in an apartment here in New York City. He was just 28 years old. The Australian-born actor came to huge prominence after his powerful performance in the film Brokeback Mountain.
6:30, they loaded the body of Michael Jackson onto that helicopter.
Most people who are super famous, they don't stay in the spotlight for that long. So everyone might know them for many decades later, but like your time in your prime is kind of limited.
And when it's all over, even though the fame might have been miserable, they tied their entire identity around it. It validated them. They tied their entire self-worth around it.
What does a 32-year-old retiree who's worth $100 million spend their days?
Miserable.
Really? You were miserable?
Yeah, because, you know, like any athlete, right? From the ages of 6, 7 years old, all we knew was one thing, hoop. Hoop school, right? Summer, hoop play. What do we know? We haven't had a regular life.
Let me answer why do I DJ. From 13 to 40, 3 times a week for an hour and a half, I would get adrenaline from people yelling and screaming. Good yelling, bad yelling, cheering, booing. It's just a part of me. When I stopped playing, I didn't have that. I get doses of it. Like I go in the rest, like I go in Nick and Sam's and I get a little clap, but that's only 30 seconds. Like, where's the rest? So I went to a concert one time and it was about 500,000 people that went to Tomorrowland in Atlanta. And that feeling came back. And I've been DJing since high school, since college. And I was like, I think I can do this because the concept of the DJ and the athlete should be the same.
You have a situation where this person is extremely rich, you know, let's say, at least on paper or whatever it might be, and then they see all these random other dudes, especially on the internet, who are really famous, who aren't nearly as rich, and so then they're super jealous and annoyed at all these sort of fake rich guys out there who get all the fame and the attention, and so you have all these sort of billionaires who are typically sad that no one knows who they are. It's not like you can walk around the street if you're not a famous, billionaire. It's not like you can walk around the street and people bow down to you as if they know who you are, and they wish they could get some respect from people because they're some sort of a big time silent success. It's a big negative for them to be well known for many different reasons. Oftentimes that has to do with how they actually became a billionaire, but definitely, if they become well-known billionaire, then they're just going to get sued all day, every day by random people. It's very common for them to have to spend tens of millions of dollars, just protecting themselves from all these frivolous lawsuits, and it's just not a safe thing for most billionaires. So practically speaking, the odds that you're going to want to be well known as a billionaire is very low, but then at the same time it's this weird irony where you wish everybody knew you and respected you, and so then you treat everyone kind of poorly, for lack of a better term, because you wish they respected you oftentimes, but they don't.
So can you feel better about who you are right now, especially after seeing that footage? I mean, that within itself can make you feel as though you are okay. You don't need to reach some sort of goal. You can live more present. And this within itself, this acceptance, this sort of contentment might make you a better person, less anxious, less stressed, right? And we do have quite a crisis of anxiety and stress, at least when I'm recording this video. And how quick are people to judge others, especially on the internet, right? I mean, many people yell out, oh, look at these capitalists, these billionaires, these bad people, because they have all this money and this is how they gained it. But do you ever think about what goes on in their head? What made them famous? And what would you do if you were in their shoes? Right? Is it the one person that we are to blame, this one celebrity that we want to put all the emphasis on, saying, well, maybe we should follow this celebrity instead of that celebrity? Or should we look at the millions who give them power, who give them money, who supply the ones who are making them afraid and isolated and wanting to hide away from the rest of the world and then become even more inhuman? It's although we are interacting as though we are inhuman, and so they have no choice but to also be inhuman. And we are creating this feedback loop. And so what I have to warn you is that from here on out for this film, and it's not going to be like this forever, things are going to get a little bit dark. And that's because we don't just need to talk about the people who are in power, celebrities, and the people who give them that power and influence, but the celebrities of celebrities, the industry, Hollywood itself. We could be embracing the superficial, but we don't have to. We don't have to worship, and we don't have to take on this ego position of I have it all, I am the man, I am the person that you should probably go and lay out a red carpet for me, right? Most intelligent, we will take care of everyone, and look at these bad people, or oh my gosh, you're perfect, and I don't have any meaning or love in my life, so I need to obsess over you. And we don't need to attack the people who have these mindsets either, because we can understand them. But can we understand some of the worst, the celebrities of the celebrities who maybe are pulling people into this mindset, who are duping, who are playing on the vulnerable? Can we understand them? Can we have any empathy for them? Because truly, we're not to attack other people in this documentary. I'm not here to say, look at Athene, he's bad. I think he's actually quite intelligent. It's just to say, notice what you do, and notice the words he says that are going to get people to go crazy on the internet. Because even the celebrities don't realize their power. They too are kept in a position of disempowerment. As you saw previously, they aren't feeling that great just as much as their followers. So what is really going on? We don't want to create a cycle where trauma and projection continues to happen because we keep comparing ourselves, having expectations of ourselves, judging others, and attacking, defending others. This is what keeps us away from a deeper self-reflection of understanding we may not have to do any of that. And that the real thing that we need to do is this greatest philosophical teaching, know thyself, which, as you can think of, would be quite difficult in an industry where you are an icon and you are an identity and you are this thing, this image that you set up for yourself.
You talk about the cult of Hollywood, and you describe it as the way, sort of a story of the way that you fought your way out, and you hope that you can inspire other people. Tell us how you fought your way out of the cult.
Well, I was doing a movie for Quentin Tarantino, and it was as if I had this like alarm bell going off in my head saying, wake up, Rose, wake up, Rose. And I was so deeply unhappy in my life, and I couldn't figure out what it was that was making me unhappy, and I realized it was kind of all of it because I'd adhered to the rules of Hollywood for so long, and those rules are an illusion. And Hollywood gives us a really narrow mirror to view ourselves in, and it's kind of one-dimensional, but it affects so many, and it is a form of propaganda. And
in what way? Sort of sexism are we talking about, or sort of...
Not just sexism, it's like here's what you are as a man, here's what you are as a woman, here's what you are as a transgender, here's what you are as anything. You know, Hollywood operates in secrecy. Not a lot of people know what really goes on there. It's kind of, you know, it's an illusion, really. It's like, it's supposed to be glamorous, it's supposed to be all these things. And behind the scenes, it can be really tragic and really traumatic. What do I think about it? I think they're really fear-based, and I wish they'd be braver. There's still a lot of stuff that goes on there that hasn't been uncovered, and it's not just about sexual harassment, it's about abuse of power. And my message is one that you don't have to be hurt to realize your dreams. You don't need to be degraded to realize your dreams. I was homeless when I was 13, I was a runaway, and I was so proud of myself for not getting assaulted when I was on the streets. It's a strange thing to be proud of, but I was very proud of that. And then when I thought my life was changing and getting easier, then it happened to me. And it's something that it changes who you are, and it steals who you are and who you are meant to be. And it's deeply unfair.
Harvey Weinstein, in your book, you don't name him. You call him the monster.
I mean, this is a person who hired ex-Mossad agents to steal 125 pages of my book before it came out. There was $1 million bounty on my book. They infiltrated my life pretending to be sexual assault survivors. It's just so much insanity trying to control his proclivities. For so long, he paid off people in the media to slander me for years and years because I never signed a confidentiality agreement. And so I presented a danger. And for me, it's just been about having a healthy and balanced life while living in a very extraordinary, extreme situation. But when you push at power, power pushes back. Me Too, you know, the press really calls it a movement, but I feel that it was more of a way for people to communicate. Did this happen to you? Me Too. That's all it really is. And the press kind of made it sound like there's, you know, thousands of women in the streets with pitchforks running after men, and I don't think that's the case. It's not about that. And men get hurt too. When you're little, your legs hurt, but you got taller, right? I think that's kind of what society has been going through. It's a growth spurt, and And like I said, growth can often be really challenging and ugly. And we have to face the ugliness if we're going to heal this wound in society.
Usually there's something up from childhood. Usually somebody wasn't paying attention to them, parents split up, something went wrong, right? So you take this person that's super insecure and has this exorbitant need for attention, and then you put them through this audition process. The audition process is the craziest thing ever. It devastates people's self-esteem because you just get rejected all the time. Casting agents that had all this power over you. And they exhibited it, like they exerted it when you were in the room with them. They didn't communicate with you like, you're a person and I'm a person. They communicated with you like, you want something from me. And I don't know if I'm going to give it to you. Let me see what you do. It was just the way they did it. It was just so shitty. If you're a fundamentalist Christian, or if you have Christian values, a lot of people frown upon that. Why do you think that is, and have you had difficulties with that?
I don't know. I haven't had difficulties. I have had, and I won't throw any people under the bus, but I have had moments where I was on stage receiving an award in front of my peers in Hollywood. And there were people in the crowd that I have prayed with before dinners many times. And when I thank God, I saw some of those people go to clap, but then notice that, whoa, it's going to be a bad thing on my resume, and then sit back on their hands.
Oh, wow.
And I've seen people read the room and go, whoa, that wouldn't bode well for me in the future. If for getting a job or getting votes or what have you.
When people make it, like really make it, they become fucking nightmares because they want to punish people for all those years they were insecure, for all those years where they weren't getting picked, for all those years you fucking pieces of shit didn't
One example is Brysher Gray, the star of Empire. Early on, he was celebrated as a humble, talented young performer trying to support his mother. But as he rose in fame, something changed. He faced multiple arrests and disturbing allegations of abuse. Many began to wonder, was he always like this, or did Hollywood break him? It draws in people who are already vulnerable, then breaks them down with rejection, manipulation, and pressure to conform. It forces actors to hide who they really are, to trade their beliefs for acceptance, and to chase validation at any cost. Rogan calls Hollywood a cult, and it's not hard to see why. The industry creates its own world, cut off from reality, where everyone plays along because they're desperate to belong. For many, it doesn't just ruin careers, it ruins lives. So while Hollywood sells the idea of chasing your dreams, the truth is much darker. It's a machine that feeds on those dreams, using people's hopes against them, and leaving most of them scarred.
Yeah, the music business plays this Jedi mind trick on you, where the whole thing's set up to be rapacious and take advantage of your weakness. If you get success and you have leverage, they'll get out of your way because you're making them a lot of money. But the minute you're not making them as much money, then they step in and they start playing these Jedi mind tricks on you. We know what to do. You know, the public's going to forget about you. I mean, I've heard all these things. Like, you know, this kind of weird, like, yeah, you're in the room, but, you know, we're the arbiter of whether you can stay in the room. They do these 360 deals where it's like, if you get a perfume deal, if you, like, your whole world,
they own you.
We own a piece of your whole world. And fame is such a great quotient in American life now that you can see where kids would trade fame and be willing to give away like the profit part. Look no further than the deals that the record labels cut with the streaming services. They got into ownership equity deals with the streaming services. In an arrangement for them to have an equity position, they agreed to very low rates for the artist's music. But as Spotify and the other streaming services raise up in their equity position, the labels benefit. So the labels pimped out their own artists to take a greater equity position in a rising business.
And he's saying, well, we can't take a chance on this because it's just simply, that's not what the kids really want, and I know, you know, and they got that attitude. And the day you get rid of that attitude and get back to, who knows, take a chance, you know, that entrepreneurial spirit where even if you don't like or understand what the record is that's coming in the door, the person who is in the executive chair may not be the final arbiter of taste of the entire population.
I don't know if most people have seen long-form contracts. They're insane, and there's all these little things thrown in. It's kind of like legislating, you know, legislature for a government. They put up this big issue, but underneath that issue, there's like 17 other little laws that they threw in that they're not talking about. So when you say yes to this one thing, you're actually saying yes to like 45 other things.
There's a worse one. They used to have damage fees with digital downloads.
digital downloads. Like, at first they were doing that, like they just trying to get away with murder, you know, just like, let's leave it in there, let's see if the lawyer sees it kind of thing.
Yeah, Metallica is a big exception. But a lot of metal bands you've heard of that you consider very successful metal bands are in situations where they need to diversify. I think the idea that we all had as kids, we're going to make it, and our one band that we're in is going to make us all this money and be our sole source of income. I think that's gone for the most part, unless you're very, very lucky. That's not the case anymore.
For younger bands that don't have the draw that we do, it's incredibly difficult. It really is. Sure. For bands that don't understand or that don't fully take advantage of how the machine actually works, it's incredibly difficult. Every band needs to really pay attention to what their record contract says. They look at what their royalty rate is. If you realize you're getting 0.07 cents for every stream, and your contract only says that you get 15 points on the record after you've recouped
There's
everything.
a lot of zeros after that decimal.
Exactly. So it just keeps on being reduced and reduced and reduced and reduced, and you have to really pay attention to it. You have to negotiate, you have to hardball, you have to, and you have to try and improvise and adapt and overcome. I've said that a million times.
I wasn't really taking large advances from the recording companies. I was recording the albums myself in my own studio. So the way I looked at it, I owned the work because I paid for it. And I did all the work, I created it, so I felt like it should belong to me. That said, the companies felt otherwise, and they would always hold this contract up and say, well, you signed it. And I say, well, I understand that. It's not like I want to leave, I just want to, talk about this thing and see if we can't make it more fair. Of course, they wouldn't change, because if they changed, they wouldn't really exist. It shouldn't be a situation where they own the album or the work. We're talking about intellectual copyright. If they're going to be indeed a delivery service, then that's fine. But even FedEx doesn't say that they own the thing that they ship.
When I first started, I came into it with such a sense of idealism that music was ultimately, which it is, an expression of your soul. 2 months into my first professional thing, I realized that it's a really ugly industry, like any industry would be. I'm sure logging or any industry is ugly when you start getting into the money of it. But music, in a way, more so, because it's monetizing something that is your passion.
I'm an independently owned artist. I kept my publishing. All the things that I could have done smart, believe it or not, I learned from street level in what I call the, bar none, the music business. I have some great friends, but bar none is the sleaziest business in the world. It's a business where there's 50 ways to get rich and rock the world, and there's 50 ways to get screwed from just one incident.
The music industry is a joke. Every band that they signed, they tried to make sound like the last band to perpetuate this myth of that's what music should be. That bit them in the ass, because now we're down to watching literally America's best fucking singer or dancing with singers or whatever the fuck reality shit they got going as our source of popular music. But we still don't get fucking paid for anything we do, and we travel around town to town hoping for scraps of food and shit.
Hollywood is the one that keeps all this power structure and all this culture of racism and sexism and classism and genderism and all of it in place. They continually feed it, and they make a lot of money doing it. And they do it at the behest of their masters who run everything. I go to Hollywood parties, or occasionally I go to Oscar parties and things like that. And people, big stars, people will grab me by the arm and take me aside and say, I just want to thank you for the things you say. And it blows my mind, but that's the culture. It's a culture of fear for sure. And it's a big culture of mind control too. MK Ultra mind control rules in Hollywood. If you don't know, Google that and look into it.
Well, we've talked about Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra mind control stuff from, this goes back decades and decades. But Roseanne, do you know people have been blacklisted? Is it just kind of a self-censorship in Hollywood, or do people actually get edged out if they are too much against the grain?
Yeah, it's self-censorship after a while, but it's not just a crazy self-censorship. It's self-censorship because there's actually a danger that you will never work again. And people know it. Everybody has friends that it happened to, that maybe you said too much or maybe you were too vocal on unpopular issues. And it's funny because it doesn't matter if 2 years later, I find this a lot, that 2 years later, those unpopular issues become very mainstream. They still don't forgive the first person who does it.
How profound it is to see cult-like elements within the culture, which is perhaps where the word comes from, but that there's this helplessness that is learned and accepted, and that's because people are kept in a state of fear. And they realize that their fame or their popularity comes at a cost, and they accept that cost willingly. But just what is that cost, and how dangerous could it be?
People really, really struggle with understanding, I think, is if I'm looking at like the reason that I did it. I'm like, I didn't want to believe that was the kind of person that he was, and I didn't want to believe that thing had happened to me because I had already had the sexual assault experiences.
Right.
And so in my mind, I'm like, if I hang out with him again, maybe I will discover that he really likes me for me. And maybe I will find that, like, you know, that thing that felt kind of weird wasn't actually weird. And we're like, you know, this is actually really not like fun. And was texting me like every single night. So I hung out with him again. Almost the exact same thing happens. And then afterward, he was still texting me every night. I stopped responding to him. And then the people that he had set me up in sessions with, there were 2 people, like producers he had set me up with to write, for their artists or whatever, ghosted me. As soon as I ghosted him, they totally disappeared. Coincidence? I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, it's like, so there are kind of a couple different things at play here. So one, there's this idea that like you see someone again after they've harmed you. Why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? But there's so many reasons why, like so many ways that we justify to ourselves the pain that we've experienced and like don't want to believe it and try to push it away. And I think that is something that happens within cultic groups all the time. Like, and that, in fact, like my mom talks about this. She, with her, you know, with our prophet, she was like, well, there's no way that someone would lie about this. Like that, no one is that bad of a person. Right. So I can't accept that. So instead, it's easier to accept that, like, I mean, I'm way oversimplifying it. There were so many factors at play there. He worked so hard on her, wearing her down, so I don't want to downplay that. But like one of the many, many dynamics is that you don't want to believe that people are bad. Right. You just don't.
Right.
It's hard. And you don't want to believe that you're a victim.
Mm-hmm.
At least I didn't want to believe that I was a victim. I'm like, no, I am not the kind of person that this stuff happens to anymore. This doesn't happen to me, so therefore this was fun. You should not sleep with people who are just like obviously your fans. But on the other hand, are you never allowed to hook up with someone who's a fan of something you've done? Like that doesn't make sense either.
I know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It's just like being mindful of the power that you potentially have. He sat me down and he was like, if we're going to work together, I'm going to need you to trust me.
Antenna. What'd you say?
I was like, okay. Yeah, totally. Trust. You have to trust the people you work with. He was like, okay, I would like to do a trust exercise. I want you to go into your room and change your shirt. And I was like, okay, this is kind of weird, but okay. So I went into the room and I changed my shirt. Obviously he wasn't watching or anything. I came back out. He sat me down. He was like, good. Now I want you to do it again. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. Like, this is feeling weird to me. Mind you, at this point, I've already believed in a fucking cult leader.
Right. Yeah. You're like, what's going on? Yeah.
And he was like, okay, well, if you don't do it, that proves to me that you're not taking this seriously. And I can't work with someone who's like not willing to fully jump in and trust me and take this seriously. And it was so hard for me to say this because I wanted to be in with these people so badly, but it raised enough red flags that I was like, okay, I guess we can't.
Just imagine the strength it takes, or even the intelligence it takes to confront someone and just say no. Especially when you are having all the perfect psychological mechanisms employed on you to convince you that you should do it. But you know somewhere in your conscience that it's not entirely 100% correct. And so you say it's okay to ignore that little bit over there that's saying don't go into it, question a little bit. Just do it because everyone else is doing it. And because, if you don't do this, then what will you do? You're going to be in uncertainty, right? And you can't live in uncertainty. You have to have a purpose. You have to know what you're doing after school. You have to know that you have to make a lot of money. Otherwise, you won't be successful. These are the things we tell ourselves. And just how extreme can it get? What about a child who grows up in these industries and is still developing their own mind?
I can tell you that the number one problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia. That's the biggest problem for children in this industry.
The casting couch even applies to children.
Oh yeah. Not in the same way. It's all done under the radar.
Nobody talks about pedophilia.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread?
Oh yeah. I was surrounded by them when I was 14 years old. Surrounded. Literally. Didn't even know it. It wasn't until I was old enough to realize what they were and what they wanted and what they were about and the types of people that were surrounding me till I went, oh my God, they were everywhere like vultures. There's a lot of good people in this industry, but there's also a lot of really, really sick, corrupt people in this industry. And there are people in this industry who have gotten away with it for so long that they feel they're above the law. And that's got to change. That's got to stop. I believe that everybody in this world should have the freedom of choice.
And child stars don't.
Child stars have nothing. They have nothing. They have no choice. I was never taught how to have a family. I was never taught how to raise a child because I wasn't raised properly. I was never taught how to care for somebody because I was never shown genuine love. I was shown business. This is what you do. Here's how you read a contract. I knew how to read a contract by 10 years old, but I didn't know what it meant for somebody to come in and tell me they love me and kiss me goodnight. My crime was that I was a kid who was molested, who was given drugs. And so what do to those kids? They make sure that they don't have the power of the boys when they get older. So that basically you're, the unsung hero, you're everybody's favorite, you're the future of Hollywood, you're the golden child, and then you turn 18 and it's like, oh, remember when he had a career? And you're like, wait, what? 6 months ago I was the golden child. What happened? Oh, but he got arrested for drugs. His career's over. What? What do you mean? I'm 18 years old. I'm just getting started. Yes, I did have a drug problem because you people gave me drugs. Tend to get addicted when you're given drugs as a kid, right? And especially if you've got years and years of abuse that you're trying to squelch the pain from, it's kind of obvious that there's going to be a problem. And they know this. This isn't the first time this has happened. It's a systemic issue.
And when he says it's systematic, it is something that keeps happening. You have to ask the question, why? Because if you even look into himself, who we'd have to admire his courageousness for speaking up about his story and making films about it too, he has accusations against him too. And some people will use that as an argument against him. But does that make what he's saying untrue? The truth is, it reveals an even greater picture of the corrupt problem and the issue of trauma itself and how it perpetuates generations. I mean, look at this comment about the accusations. How the hell did these girls not walk off the tour? I would have gotten my own bus ticket and went back home or something. And then the comment responded to them, he had them wrapped up in contracts and non-disclosure agreements with the very real threat of ruining them should they try and leave. Looking at everything the man has gotten away with over the years, I don't blame them for believing it. And then another comment says, victim becomes the predator, creepy Corey. And this person says, yep, as it oftentimes can happen with so many prior victims of such abuse. Unfortunately, they become abusers themselves. And I know Mark Pasho even talks about this idea of self-loathing, where if you don't have self-respect, you can't give it to someone else. And so there's this idea and there's this image he shows of this person who's in the cage, who wants other people to also be in the cage. There are all sorts of accusations being thrown out in Hollywood and against celebrities. Many of them could be untrue and other ones could be true. If something's come to the surface, you have to wonder what's not on the surface. There's people with private islands and dual citizenships and a lot of really shady things. You know, I didn't cover the Vatican and all the other things when it came to religion in the schooling system, all the little itty bitties of what do they teach and what do they do and practice. I looked at the cult-like behavior of the followers and the fanaticism in the language and the symbolism and some people's personal experiences, but that only covers a portion, only a segment. The truth is that Hollywood doesn't just have these problems. They do reveal it to people because their whole job, the whole industry is producing media. And so if you look at the music and you look at the movies and you look at the actors and you look at the roles, you start to see some of this is actually just admitted to. Some of it is right in front of people's eyes and they just don't see it and it goes ignored for many years. Take a look at Epstein or Weinstein situations. Take a look at Diddy and look at all the other celebrities who were surrounded by these same people and how little investigation is made about this, but how many content creators and everyday people are finding connections about this. What profound craziness is happening in these industries.
Not too long ago, Jay-Z's name was attached to Diddy's, and it forced some people to go down a rabbit hole of some questionable things that Jay-Z has been accused of or said. But the shit that tickles my rib like Celine Dion with a muscle spasm is the main people trying to crack down on the weird shit connected to Jay-Z are Nicki Minaj fans. I repeat, Nicki Minaj fans.
Justin, do you drive? Yes, I drive.
Can you handle calm?
I'll even say it again. Nicki Minaj fan, you can't make this shit up. We got Jay-Z fans defending him with their heart and soul, even though he was bosom buddies with 3 niggas that would do a clean sweep at a Chuck E. Cheese. You got Nicki fans on the offense, but it's kind of funny when you think about the fact that Nicki's husband and brother can't even go to their son or nephew's 5th birthday party without a parole officer. They're playing The Night Is Young on the speaker looking at you crazy. Hashtag get out the bouncy house. And to top it all off, there's the tribalistic Drake fans that try to join in the conversation knowing good and goddamn well he was trying to indulge in some Stranger Things, among other various questionable activities. But to put it briefly, there was so many people trying to defend moral acts and debating who's the biggest predator, you'd think they'd be defending politicians. Okay, I'll chill out. I guess what I'm trying to say is, we really need to learn to separate the art from the artist while also maintaining some form of common sense. Because on one hand, there's the people who will go above and beyond and say their favorite artist is a good person, or even go as far as to idolize him. Yeah, sure, go ahead and say Playboi Carti's your favorite artist right now. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you try to say he's a good person for doing the absolute bare minimum, like, I don't know, raising his child whenever he gets to that, you can't just act like that negates the fact that Carti was throwing haymakers at his girlfriend like John Jones' pre-workout ritual. But why the fuck do you have a song called Guilty Until Proven Innocent?
Truth is, let this documentary make you a stronger person. Let this empower you to realize your own influence over your own mind is crucial. And becoming more conscious of what's going on, because what I'm going to show you gets even more drastic. And I want you to have an open mind to it because, frankly, why is it, very simply, that so many celebrities and influencers have admitted or have had influence or who had relationships with dark or occult-like influences in their life, and they put it on full display sometimes? Now, I'm not going to do a full psychological analysis of this because, frankly, it's also just hard for me to bear watching it so many times, but I just want you to sit with it, at least you going over it for one time, hopefully, just to become aware of it. And just realize that if you combine that with all the other things we talked about in this video, with the mindset of the follower and what they have to deal with their own contracts and with their own record companies and all this stuff, you start to see, oh my gosh, when Jordan Peterson's talking about the soul and when people are saying music is an expression of the soul, is it a coincidence that this is what they're writing about, this is what they're showing, and this is what is being put out?
I want to talk about your new single, Slumber Party.
Yes.
I know you do that with Tinashe.
Yes.
And does Slumber Party, does it mean like the old school Slumber Party, or is it like a hidden meaning?
It's kind of like, we just did the video, and it's kind of like a younger Eyes Wide Shut theme. So it's kind of a little risky, it's very sexy, it's very moody, and it's fun. It's fun.
One notable party that was held by the Rothschilds in 1972 has recently been exposed with frightening images. And unsurprisingly, its unnerving similarities to the party reenacted in Britney's new video are undeniable.
To Lucy, Lucifer,
yeah,
the devil. So you
it's trippy.
You see both sides of.
Yeah, man. It's when I go inside, I may do an after party. I see it all around, man. I may do an after party, and this is how I'll be able to write these records, because it's not just the positive energy that speaks to me. It's the negative too. It's the evils too, and we all have temptations.
Right.
You know. Me, I'm just fortunate enough to translate them temptations through record.
Right.
You know, I always said this is truly a gift for me. Putting these records out is a gift for me, because I'm not only a voice for myself, but I'm a voice for people who can't express themselves like that.
Right.
And Lucy is one of my favorite records because it's me actually coming to realization of the evils rather than acting like it's not going around. My thoughts are not happening. My thoughts are happening right in front of my face. I gotta present them.
That reminded me, in a way, and not to compare it to anything, because I do think this is an original, maybe one of the most original works we've seen in a long time, but it reminded me a little bit of Snoop.
Yeah.
And Murder Was the Case, where he had that conversation with the devil, with Lucifer.
Just being in such an infrastructure like BET, and I still work in the film and television industry, and I have actors that we see on TV every day that are my friends, and I'm in their homes, and I know that they ain't got no money. I've been over rappers' cribs that will go on MTV cribs talking crazy, and I've been in the house like, word, you living a little bit better than me, because it's all based off perception. But once you reach a certain level within that weapon of mass destruction, you have to give something up. There's something that you're going to give up, because you got to be down with that crew. And how do I know? because it happened to me. That is why I'm standing here talking right now. I reached a certain level in that station. I was the only producer to ever come as a new kid and create a multi-million-dollar revenue generating show. So it's not even reality television. But they understand that majority of us, whether we like it or not, are lazy as hell. On a spiritual level. We think because we work 3 jobs that, nah, I'm not lazy. But spiritually, psychologically, the masses are lazy. But the majority of us, and I know it's going to be kind of harsh, but the majority of us will never fulfill our dreams. So we'll never be in a position to say what we would or would not do. You understand what I'm saying? We'll never be in that position. Because before I got there, I would say the same thing until I got there. You understand? So I literally lived the devil taking me to the mountain and saying, you can either go to the left, you can have all of this. And I was there. It was ritualistically done. And that's why nowadays we see people caught up on secret societies, but it ain't no secret if everybody's talking about it.
I think everyone who's watching knows how I ended up in here.
I don't know if they do.
I'm pretty sure they do. Anytime you get it, I'm pretty sure they do. You know, there's how do I end up in here?
Never let anyone, something another woman friend of mine, Joy, told me, never let anyone take you off your square. And if it feels uncomfortable, then you are probably not in the right place. You know, just don't sell your soul. You know, and men and women do this. You know, I would say even to young boys. I've seen young boys get turned out in this industry too.
Somebody that sell my soul, I sold my soul for you. For all you motherfuckers that's on here, that's asking me did I sell my soul, why the fuck is y'all on here if y'all think I sold my soul? Y'all coming right with me, you dummies.
If your ultimate goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there, like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil. Needless to say, sold my soul.
Why is your hand over your eye?
Because I'm a devil worshiper, what are you talking about? Alright, well I have tickets to see the devil worshiper.
Roman is a crazy boy who lives in me. And he says the things that I don't want to say. He was born, just a few months ago. I think he was born out of rage. He was conceived in rage. So he bashes everyone. He threatens to beat people, and he's violent.
That must be nice to have, like, an ignorant loudmouth who you can just sort of blame every...
He wants to be blamed. I don't want to blame him. I ask him to leave, but he can't. He's here for a reason. People have brought him out. People conjured him up. Now he won't leave.
Artists be too scared to stand up for something. They scared to lose their fucking house. Or they scared to lose their record deal. I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. Pizza came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
You know, had we sold our soul to the devil, how else can you explain us being here on the
You're doing really well now, but didn't you release a CD like almost 10 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I released a gospel record when I was 15 because I grew up in, a household where all I ever did was listen to gospel music, and my parents are both traveling ministers, and so I kind of sang about, what was going on in my life at 15, and that's how I got introduced to the music industry. I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music, but it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
Well, that's going to happen.
Yeah, we sell our soul.
Well, that's an awful way to live.
But why not sell my soul and go on Jersey Shore? That's what I did.
they don't want to, and they're saying, Gaga, we can't get, the frequency's weird, and, it's sounding a little bit strange. And I'm like, if you don't get this right now, I swear to Lucifer, I'm gonna, I get a little bit mad.
Do you have a kitchen on the bus you cook?
There's no kitchen on the bus, but, we'll stop in certain places, and by then...
Still out here doing these songs, you're still on tour.
I do, but I don't take it for granted.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to that destiny thing. I made a bargain with it, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And this earth, and then in the world we can't see.
We knew about Madonna and Marilyn Manson in my family because we picketed their concerts. Once, while handing out pamphlets at a Manson concert, Perry went inside and, to her surprise, found it really interesting and weird. I got it, she said. It's notable that Katy Perry shares to have found Marilyn Manson, who was a priest of the Church of Satan, interesting around a lot of satanic, occult, and pagan symbols, including references to Egyptian gods, Freemason imagery such as the checkered board at her Super Bowl performance, snakes, which according to the Bible is a symbol of Satan, and aliens. Album cover shows her lying on a mattress in the shape of a cross. In her song Holy F, she even seemed to be suggesting that she embodies Satan himself. Like a serpent in the garden, I am truth and I am darkness. I am an angel, I'm a demon. Just depends on what you're feeling. I'm the fruit that was forbidden, but don't keep my evil hidden. I'm the one she was afraid of. Now I'm what your dreams are made of. Cunning liar, eternal fire. Demon clever, promise forever. The curious try and always die. Live in fear, the devil is near. Can you feel his breath? Pray for death. The curious try and always die. Have no savior, have no faith. Never look for heaven's gate. Devil's children, no love inside. There is a soul, but it has died. Devil's children, no love inside. There is a soul, but it has died. And it cries, dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. Put your arms around him and hold him tight. Give up to the feeling and don't try to fight. He wants your soul and he wants it tonight. Dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. Put your arms around him and hold him tight. Close your eyes to love and die. Without you, I just wouldn't want to go on. In an interview with Oprah, Prince also shared how he has another person living inside of him.
Literally, like another personality you're talking about.
Well, what they seemed to find was that it was someone I had created when I was 5 years old.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's why I changed my name. I think that's who I am now.
Really?
I very much feel divorced from Prince.
In 2016, Prince was found dead in an elevator. His death seemed very suspicious to many. Listen to what CEO of Epic Records, L.A. Reid, says in an interview.
One thing that, kind of spooked me about it all was he has a song called Let's Go Crazy.
Yeah.
And it says, don't let the elevator bring us down. One time when I was with him privately, he said, you know what the elevator is, right?
No.
I said, no, what's the elevator? He said, well, the elevator is the devil, right? It scared me. I don't like to talk like that, but he said that. And so for me, it was like really haunting when I read that he was found in an elevator. What I know is that he was really health conscious. He was a vegan. He didn't abuse alcohol. I didn't know of him abusing drugs. He worked out, so, that also really concerned me because it made me think that, wow, so you mean you do all these things to take care of yourself and you die so young?
Right before I performed, I raised my hands up and it was kind of the first time I felt something else come into me, and I knew that was gonna be my coming out night.
Even going as far as embracing satanic and pagan symbolism. Here, the singer is seen dressed up in a motorcycle costume, hinting at the goat of Baphomet, symbol of Satan. She tends to throw up the Illuminati triangles a lot, and of course, she's dressed up as a sun goddess or has had references to the sun god on numerous occasions. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. stole many a man's soul and faith, and I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain, made sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. Pleased to meet you, hope you guessed my name. What's puzzling you is the nature of my game, just as every cop is a criminal, and all the sinners saints. As heads is tails, just call me Lucifer, cause I'm in need of some restraint. So if you meet me, have some courtesy, have some sympathy and some taste. Use all your well-learned politeness or I'll lay your soul in waste. Millions of people waited for the premiere on YouTube to watch the music video as soon as it came out. Currently, it has over 230 million views. What's crazy is the connection between this music video and the one for her song, Bury a Friend, which are both part of the same album. In Bury a Friend, Billie Eilish sings about selling her soul to the devil. The debt I owe, gotta sell my soul, cause I can't say no, no, I can't say no. Then my limbs all froze and my eyes won't close.
You said that music, like in terms of getting paid, it's like the biggest thing in owning all your art.
Yeah, because Atlanta is the mind industry that I chose to be a part of. So like I accept that I'm with it, but don't be a dominant at the same time. You gotta understand that using me as entertainment and becomes self-destruction too. Cause I ain't no entertainment. You know, some be spoke on why I ain't good. It's to be continued.
Who do you think Youngboy NBA is referring to when he says that they're using him as entertainment?
I kind of get possessed by the devil when I'm performing. I like headbanged so hard that I got concussion, which is funny.
And then of course we see Ellie rocking some Illuminati symbolism with the triangle and the snake as a reference to Satan, and the Pearl Jam triangle shirt, and a 666 shirt, and then we haven't even talked about her official logo yet that's all over her merch. I mean, he has a music video in which he's literally twerking on top of Satan. The music video for his song Montero, Call Me By Your Name, starts off with a snake gliding toward Lil Nas X sitting under a tree. Garden of Eden with the serpent vibes, anyone? And what about this former heavy metal band member Timo Hoffman? He was on his way to fame and says that Satan asked him to sell his soul, but he didn't accept the devil's offer.
Led Zeppelin obviously had a fair bit to do with the occult, stuff like that as well.
I know.
Was there a connection there? Was that part of the reason you were drawn to that era of music?
I think there is an essence of the occult in a lot of 70s bands that I listened to. There's also like Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne, and maybe I've been hanging out too much with Alice Cooper, and I love Zeppelin. So it's just like the symbolism and the occult is kind of always in the peripheral.
So the very first time when I was working with this producer, we were working on my first album to get me shopped to get a major deal. And we were taking a break from recording this album, and he took me around the studio. And this is someone who's been in the industry, like he's worked with big names. And so he was like, hey, so you know that if you were to sell your soul to the devil, you can have instant fame tomorrow. And when
who said that?
I really don't want to say his name.
Oh, but it was
a producer I was working with. Yes, a music producer I was working with.
He actually said those words.
He actually said those words.
I didn't want to do this song, Shake It, or like any drill songs, because it's like these songs are activating like these demons that I killed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be that girl anymore.
Yeah, they have bowls of Advil instead of M&Ms.
Oh, yeah. And they have dial-up internet.
It's awful.
Oh, no. Wow, that is terrible. But if it's so bad, why did you all go there?
Well, Jimmy, hell is where our agents make our deals with the devil.
Oh, that explains that.
Sold my soul to the devil. This is the first time I'm wearing a long dress, so soak it in, America.
On behalf of Amy, I'd like to thank the devil and all the dark lords who
Don't do the devil stuff.
Gave her this award.
The devil stuff.
Allowed her to feast on the flesh of the enemy.
Thank you to Satan for giving me inspiration on how to play this role. I've got to look at this table and say thanks.
I'm very honored to be able to receive this amazing award from the devil.
Who wants to pray to the devil with me? Who's in with me? Come on, hey, let me see those horns. Dear Dark Lord Satan, hope everything's good with you. Ask you to grant tonight's nominees continued success in the music industry.
You motherfuckers have entered the rapture. And if ain't nobody flying up to heaven right now, obviously all y'all is going to hell right with me. So let's get it.
And here's to hell. May we have as much fun there as we had getting there. Huh, Howard?
And we'll be there.
About a week, not today, but about a week ago, I sold my soul. You understand what I'm saying? And ever since I sold my soul, I haven't been happy ever since. You know what I'm saying? And you get anything you want. You get to be rich. You get to have fortune. You get to have everything you ever wanted. You feel me? But you could think I'm cap. I'm not tripping.
Come on, devil, right? Come to me, because I had to do something like crazy, right? Had nightmares for a month. So it does come
to it or after?
After. Like I had nightmares every day. Like I felt that energy.
Oh, interesting.
You know, and I had to pray and do all this stuff to like get rid of it. And you know, you call your mom up and you're like, bring me back to life. And that stuff is real. That stuff really is real.
That environment, the industry conditions you to be less, to feel less, and to give more. Wow. And so you're taught how to talk. You're taught who to be friends with, how to look, how to sound, how to dress. It's you're completely controlled. And so I don't know who I am. I just know that music, this is what I have. It's the reins of my life. I need to make it.
It's one thing to do something for fun, and another because it's fun, but it's still dark and it's not very nice. And so it's kind of like blurring the lines a little bit. But there's plenty of articles talking about, want to make money as a pop star? Dream on. Labels still hold a monopoly on artists to work. Tons of images online with all sorts of symbolism. And that doesn't just go for Hollywood and celebrities. It goes for all of the cults that we've talked about, including public schools, including religions, including all the things that people think are fully innocent and don't have that. If there's anything influential that people talk about, that many people have as their own mindset, there's a likely psychological symbolism, esoteric ideas, or rituals behind it. Many people liken this to the tarot card, the Wheel of Fortune is literally what it's referred to as, and it has this saying, what goes up must come down and vice versa, which is symbolic for power. And everything in our society usually revolving around certain people being in a position over others and then eventually losing that position and someone else gains that power. And so it represents this cycle. The lead singer of Led Zeppelin was certainly obsessed with occultism and witchcraft and Aleister Crowley. This is all public. Even crazier is that people have taken certain songs and played them backwards. And maybe as one to show that it is possible, Eminem's song My Name Is says Eminem backwards, which is very interesting because that seems almost quite intentional and it's not for a dark purpose. And if that's used for not a dark purpose, then you can absolutely ensure that there are people who do use it for a dark purpose. And I know for a fact there's artists like Boards of Canada which openly talk about their esoteric relationships and using math and numbers and symbolism to influence minds and emotions. And by the way, some people might do it intentionally, some people might do it not intentionally. Some people may be trying to send out a message, a warning to the world. Some people may be trying to push an agenda. There's all sorts of scenarios for why an artist or celebrity or a contract can do or say anything. And just because these influential figures use the occult does not mean you have to learn all the strategies they're employing and try to become as influential using these same tools. Because at the end of the day, you see that there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of bad things behind this. I wouldn't play with that stuff. I wouldn't really get too involved. And you might say, well, this is why we have to learn about it. This is why I have to get into it. I advise you just to be a little bit careful. There's even people who have talked about the frequencies used in music, like 440 hertz versus something like 432 hertz, and how the standard tuning was changed by certain people. You can see there's information about the Rockefeller Foundation, the US Navy and military contractors, certain families, even going as far back as Nazi Germany, and certain propaganda ministers wanting to use certain tunings to create a certain effect. And perhaps it's not a coincidence that these same families are also the ones that changed the medical system and changed the school systems that we have covered in previous parts of this documentary. But I do want to emphasize that some people will say, well, Corey, isn't this industry controlled by the same people and they have this ideology and they're this type of person? I'm going to tell you that cult behavior can take place with any ideology, and the importance is always on the victims and the followers. And so you can try to put blame on a certain thing if you want to. You can say it's the ideology, but it's the person by which the ideology gets created, and it's the person that holds the ideology. So the emphasis is on the person, and we don't want to dehumanize people further. We don't want to be contradictive with how we go about changing this. And for more reason why music and culture is so important and powerful, I mean, there was the former Satanist Nicholas Schreck, who talks about the power of music, and he even went on TV saying how there's many people part of his affiliation that were actively using it to control people.
We are in control because basically we are not a political organization, we are an occult organization. We're working behind the scenes to manipulate the way that people think. The war that we are waging is a guerrilla war on the human mind. And we use musical frequencies, the dominant frequency, which I've referred to before, and symbolism and imagery to awaken dormant aspects of the human mind. And what we're waging is a cultural war right now on every front, in music, in literature, utilizing the media against itself. And we're using music because that's the instrument that young people respond to right now. We're doing propaganda directly to awaken the wolf in man. Politics is merely the puppet show of human beings, and we transcend that, but we are interested in the control of human beings for our own purposes. We have no concern for the homeless, particularly. We don't have any concern in helping people. As Adolf Hitler said, we seek to bring about a youth that has closed its heart to pity. All of the humanist values that Judeo-Christianity has encouraged, we want to wipe them out. It's led to democracy, social humanism, the idea of equality. All of this filth has to be wiped out if the human race is going to continue to take the next step in evolution. We're only seeking individuals who are competent and who are willing to take action.
And just like any cult, you have people who speak up against it and they get attacked. And they get a bit confused in their own head because they are trying to speak up against it, but they don't know exactly maybe how to. And you can't give them exact kudos for doing it because there might be a lot of trauma inside themselves, and so they might do something wrong. But at the same time, you probably shouldn't attack them. So maybe we have to have compassion for more individuals than we think, because there might be some really high up people in these industries who have a lot of trauma, and nobody's bothering to help them whatsoever and thinking it's even possible to help them. And so they just continue doing what they're doing.
They can't control me. You get what I'm saying? They can control Shaq. They can control Charles Barkley. They can control LeBron James. They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce.
But not you, man.
But they can't control me.
Not
You see, it
you.
ain't no name I won't name.
Exactly.
It's up. My mom ain't here. My mama was sacrificed.
Me too.
You understand?
Yeah, I'm Christian
Michael
too.
Jordan, what about him? His daddy, right? Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. You're out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control, traumatize. They want to monetize and traumatize.
The devil took all the producers, the musicians, the designers.
Moved us all out to Hollywood, moved us all out to New York, chasing gold statues. Literally signing a contract and selling our souls. They got contracts out there that say, you can't say Jesus.
We playing the politics too much and forgetting who we are. Just to win. Winning. Would be cool. I've been sitting here to give y'all my truth, even at the risk of my own life, even at the risk of my own success, my own career. I've been sitting here to give y'all the truth. The people that work at radio. Because these is real people that gotta feed their kids, and they not being allowed to play that real. Because they think that in order to feed their kids, they gotta play the same over and over. A lot of people here tonight felt like they lost. You know why? Because y'all been lied to. Google lied to you. Facebook lied to you.
You know, mental illness.
Perhaps, and you know, we've seen unusual outbursts from Kanye in the past, but this last one, this past weekend, we all really stopped to wonder if everything was okay, because this one was
It was a 17-minute tirade, 17 minutes in a concert. That's like a lifetime to sit there and just rant.
West tried to resist paramedics and had to be handcuffed to the stretcher.
It was uncharacteristic of him, but that aside, you know, to cancel a month and a half's worth of tours when a lot of money is on the line, something is pretty wrong here.
I think he's exhausted, just really tired.
I smoke weed. Weed don't make you do that. What the f is he on?
He was losing touch with reality, and they were seeing this erratic behavior.
Or maybe they are the ones that are out of touch with reality. Can we be surprised that Kanye West turned to Christianity? I mean, you don't need to defend or attack him. Just let him be, because he could just be finding himself. But seeing how dark the industry can be, I could see why someone might go down that route and give it a shot. And the media, of course, has its own agenda. People on social media have their own agendas, and so it gets all mixed into it. But notice also when you have the deaths of certain celebrities, like Michael Jackson, you have people like his sister coming out saying, it wasn't him that caused it, it was actually a murder.
Over and over and over. When he first told me, LaToya, they're gonna kill me, I said, who, Michael? First I thought, you're Michael Jackson. Nobody in their right mind would ever think of doing anything like this to you. That's what you think. He says, no, but you don't understand. And then I saw how serious he was. He said, it's bigger than what you think. I said, well, Michael, what is it? He said, it's my publishing. They're after my publishing. They want to take it. As you guys know, my brother had one of the largest catalogs in the world. One person I would love to have. I would love to have a one-on-one with probably. I mean, I don't know if you say that. People controlled him. They controlled him. They did what they wanted, and it was very difficult for him to say no, no, no. In situations such as that one, we've tried so many times to intervene. And it's not always that easy, because they keep everybody at bay. They keep everyone away, actually. Everyone.
How did they do that?
By controlling. And I know, because I have been in a controlling and abusive relationship, but by controlling him, controlling his thoughts, control what he does, not letting giving orders, not letting anyone through the gates, not letting anyone near security, things of that nature. And this way they have him, and they control whatever he does.
Do you think it's murder?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I said it in the beginning, and I believe it to this day. The doctor that you're looking at, the doctor that you see there, was the fall guy. That's what he was. He was the fall guy.
And so there are people in the background?
There are people in the background.
Pulling strings?
Yes, absolutely. You must remember, Michael told me repeatedly that they were going to kill him, that he was going to die. And he would say that. And when I heard my mother scream, he's dead, immediately I said, who did it? I didn't say what for, what of, what happened, who did it? Because he repeatedly said that. I knew something terrible would happen at the end, not to mention the fact that Michael constantly told me, LaToya, if I die, they're going to murder me, they're going to kill me. He would tell me that, Barbara, and that's when Michael passed. When I found out he had actually passed, I said, no, it wasn't an accident. He was murdered.
Your brother was murdered.
I always believed that from day one. I said, I'm not going to accept anything else, Barbara. They could have told me a heart attack. They could have told me he had fallen off a ladder. And I would have said, no, it's not a heart attack. He was murdered.
Even his daughter came out and said, hey, I think it's some sort of setup or conspiracy. So when you hear all those accusations about Michael Jackson, maybe it's a little bit more complicated. And there were even notes that came out from Michael Jackson himself where he wrote about it happening and his fears of it happening. It wouldn't be the first time in history this happens. Of course, there's Martin Luther King Jr., but there's also Bob Marley and theories about how the CIA admitted on their deathbed that they killed him. And this is someone who was infamous in the music scene, but they were trying to free people and get them past divides. And that's not something necessarily that society, but especially order followers want. And then they live with that trauma that they committed this action against this influential figure that they have to release it on their deathbed. Even football stars like Tom Brady has admitted to using maybe some spiritual influence to help him win and do so good in the Super Bowl and among his sport games.
You know, I've learned a lot from my wife over the years. She's so about the power of intention, you know, and believing things that are really going to happen. And she always makes a little altar for me at the game because she just wills it so much. And so she put together a little altar for me that I could bring with pictures of my kids. And I have these little special stones and healing stones and protection stones. And she has me wear a necklace and take these drops she makes. And I say all these mantras. And I stopped questioning her a long time ago. I did. I just shut up and listened.
But it's worth also noticing that many celebrities aren't just like these satanic, dark, occult people. There's many who are also religious, who call themselves Christian. And some people might say, oh, well, they're not truly Christian, right? Because, of course, that's a whole thing of its own. But there's people who also turn to Buddhism and other faiths. The point is to understand that there are people who are changing, and these are just people, and at the end of the day, they're just like you and I, but they have a lot of trouble when they have to navigate a world isolated and alone and living in a unique position and having to deal with a lot of pressures. And in the same way, it's very interesting to see that if a celebrity had a religious upbringing, that they would turn to a dark path, or vice versa. They start in a dark path and they turn to religion. It's also worth noting that people like Rainn Wilson says that music makes him feel really religious, and many people get this very amazing feeling when they listen to music. So all in all, talking about this idea of celebrities, what is it really, right? These are still human beings, and we have to ask ourselves, are we treating them as such? This will help us know what we should do moving forward. And then what about all those crazy influencers that might get on our mind and all those people who might take advantage of us? Well, let's just have some time to self-reflect on ourselves and ask ourselves, do we really need this? Is this something that I desire, and what is it asking of me? What am I really getting myself into? And have there been people who spoke up about it? Is it a cult-like environment? And maybe there are alternative artists, and maybe there are different forms of movies that are more independent, and maybe there are, films that your children can watch without all sorts of symbolism that is going to harm them.
I'd wake up and I think, why did I wake up this morning? This is coming from a man who had everything: money, fame, glory, titles, a wife, a family, kids, everything. But I felt as if I had nothing. I felt there was an empty, gaping hole that was just filled with gloom and doom, and it just was one bad thing happened to me after another. And it wasn't until after the Klitschko fight, a very massive high, then I had to have a even worse a low, lowest low that anyone could ever have.
Whether you continue to listen to artists or not, don't make celebrities your idols. You'll be disappointed, because we're all humans at the end of the day.
I know that it's really easy to find an explanation to your behavior that makes sense to you so you can continue doing it. An explanation is not a reason, and nothing gives even anyone who's struggling the right to place all of that weight onto another person. Yes, even a celebrity. I guess sorry for taking what were supposed to be lighthearted jokes and turning them into a mental health think piece. I do actually think that some people deserve to be made fun of. People who take it too far. Publicize, spread their misery, drag others down with them. With that said, I think we should be more open to having a conversation about what lies underneath stan culture, and what all of it has meant for recognizing mental health concerns. The entertainment industry was designed for people to fall and escape into. Oftentimes, fandoms attract people who are seeking stability and community in their life. Some can find that and live comfortably, but others would fall in too deep. An issue arises when that stability and community becomes the only thing that this person has. We can't control other people, or life, or what happens at all. So eventually, when the glass box shatters, and it always shatters, the foundation literally gets ripped from under your feet. I'm not asking you to go be friends with the crazy Swifties, but I am trying to get you to understand why they might be crazy Swifties.
And so you can understand when Jim Carrey is seen as this crazy guy who is looking at Hollywood and is like, this is crazy.
There's no meaning to any of this, so I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join, and here I am.
They're
I
celebrating.
mean, you got to admit it's completely meaningless.
Well, they say they're celebrating icons inside.
Celebrating
Do you believe
icons,
in
boy, that is just the absolute lowest aiming, possibility that we could come up with. It's like icons. Do you believe in icons? I don't believe in personalities. I don't believe that you exist, but there is a wonderful fragrance in the air.
You don't believe certain icons have the power to make change, to think differently, to be bold, to inspire others? Artistry? You're one of them.
On the good foot. Ha! Yeah. You shut her down now. Yeah, no, I don't believe in icons. I don't believe in personalities. I believe that peace lies beyond personality, beyond invention and disguise, beyond the red S that you wear on your chest that makes bullets bounce off. I believe that it's deeper than that. I believe we're a field of energy dancing for itself. And I don't care.
But Jim, you got really dressed up for the occasion. You look good.
No, I didn't
that an
get dressed
accident?
up. I didn't get dressed up.
Who did?
There is no me.
There's no you.
No.
We're not here. This is a dream?
There's just things happening. And there are clusters of tetrahedrons moving around together.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's happening in our world right now? Because there is a lot of news that actually is relevant that's not that
Here's
uplifting.
the thing. It's not our world.
None
That's
of this
the
is
key.
real?
Nope.
So you're just passing
We don't
through.
matter. We don't matter.
Oh, wow.
There's the good news.
Okay.
And the next time that you see a celebrity or somebody who claims to have some sort of influence over so many people because of their IQ, for instance, you have to ask yourself, is that really what matters at the end of the day? Because they can say this, they can have some fancy outfit, they can, be in the front stage and be the most popular person in the world. But does that make them a good person? Does that mean that what they're saying is true? You have to be able to discern and still be yourself at the end of the day. But if you are going to be famous and try to gain some influence out there, what is the ideal scenario, best case scenario that would look like?
Ideally, it's not an insanely large audience, like 10,000 people love you, so to speak, online or wherever. Those are the people that really have the best situation where they just get to deal with their true fans, and they don't really interact with them in person all that much, but like their online interactions are nice, and then in real life they get to just experience your life whenever they want to. If you can get to a point where your focus is on having predictable, consistent income, but you don't have to work that much, that's kind of the best route. Oftentimes that might be that you create some sort of business, and eventually you hire some people to take over the work that you're doing, but you just scale it to a point where it makes, however much money is a lot of money. Practically speaking, if you are really focused on just money, the better thing to do is maybe get to 7 figures and reduce your workload.
So you can try to reduce your workload, and you can try to create a business and then have other people take over that business. But still, even in that case, we have to be aware of our impacts, because we're kind of just letting go and then letting other people take control of it. But we are still ultimately gaining money from that operation. And so people talk about rent and usury and all these issues of, money being taken from people and people hard laboring, while there's certain people who don't have to labor as hard and they are still living this life of luxury. And there's a lot of question when it comes to the things in our life, not just the people that we worship. So let us understand that even what we call entertainment, what we call innocent, may not be all that innocent. and there could be all sorts of agendas being pushed on us. And if we're doing a hard day of work and then we come home and we're watching TV and then we fall asleep to it and it's still playing in the background, or we're in the store and we're grocery shopping and there's music playing in the background, what subconscious messaging could be given to us, especially when we are in this like, oh my gosh, I'm drained from the rest of the day type of mindset, and oh my gosh, I just want to relax, or oh, I'm going shopping, I'm not paying attention to what's going on around me. All these cult-like elements can be integrated in anything. All the symbolism, the esoteric aspects can be integrated in anything, which can make it a little difficult when you're trying to go about your life and you're wondering, how did I get this dream? How did I get that thought? And another thing is that there is such a thing as parasocial relationships, and I've seen this on Twitch, where it is kind of like this ideal scenario. Maybe you have several thousand people who watch you, they donate money, and there's people who are like stalking them and watching them for hours on end, so they build this like great bond with them. But then these same celebrities promote like perverse material of themselves on websites like OnlyFans, and then people donate subscriptions, annually to these people. So then that encourages more of this like defending, stalking. I know this person. They start donating millions of dollars, and then they watch their every move, and they go on LSF, like live stream fails on Reddit, and then they start typing like long essays about people, and then they claim to know everything they've done in their life. Like, it's insane. Just remember what was said before. Some people don't know what genuine love is. They don't know what genuine connection is. And when we're through this internet and we're worshiping celebrities and we're not looking at ourselves in our own environment, we have to ask, is this real life anymore? And especially as we move into the world of AI and technology, which is how you're even receiving this video right now. Don't let me distract you from reality. Don't get obsessed with me or this documentary. Let this lead you to something that is beyond this, beyond me. What is it that we worship that is actually worshipped more than anything else? Because it's within science, politics, religion, and celebrity culture. And indeed, anything it is, because it can be much of everything.